Just a week to go until the transfer window comes to a close. Bull Street are going to be there on the day, streaming on YouTube and on Facebook, so you don't want to miss it. Go subscribe to the Bull Street channel on YouTube. Do it right now. You can do it by clicking on Joe's face. You've got 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Do it. Joe's not here just for that. He's actually going to speak as well.
I'm going to try my best to speak.
Joe from the Football Daily. If you haven't checked out Football Daily, then what are you doing? It's massive, isn't it?
It's doing okay.
You're a massive deal.
Okay. No.
This is a massive moment for me. This is huge.
Is it?
Not really. Let's get into the transfer news, starting with James Rodriguez. It's a sexy signing. Where's he going to go? Chelsea? Is he going to go to Liverpool? Is he going to go to Man United? He's going to go...
Nowhere. He will be staying at Real Madrid in this transfer window, in my opinion. Of course, Zinedine Zidane, after last weekend's fixtures, talked about the need to keep James Rodriguez. He came on off the bench, had a bit of an impact. I think he is going to try and squeeze him into that team, and there's no way in hell Florentino Perez is going to let his golden boy leave after paying over £70 million for him in the first place. No way in hell.
Chelsea have apparently made a £60 million bid for him already, and it's Liverpool who have apparently made an inquiry for him. They've already spent about £70 million this summer, but could James Rodriguez in any world go to Liverpool?
I'm afraid not, Liverpool fans. I don't think you need him either. You've got enough attacking midfielders, of course.
Sure.
You've got Coutinho, Firmino, Lallana. Wijnaldum can play there. Of course, he's operating slightly deeper under Klopp.
Mane as well.
Who started fantastically, looks like one of the signings of the summer. I don't think you need him, and for £72 million, what's the point in signing him?
Mangala, leaving Man City to go to Napoli on loan. Not the sexiest of transfers, but what this could lead to is Koulibaly maybe going to Chelsea? Could this happen?
I don't see Koulibaly going to Chelsea in this window. I think Chelsea have probably been priced out of him. It looks like he's going to be offered a new contract at Napoli.
It looks like they're going to put in a bid for Alessio Romagnoli.
He's a different option. Conte didn't have enough trust to take him to Euro 2016, so that would worry me as a Chelsea fan. Of course, you're going to have to pay a lot of money for Romagnoli as well. AC Milan signed him for Roma for over £20 million. So they might want to double their money. Let's not forget they have got some rich owners coming in the form of the Chinese. So whether or not they need to sell him remains to be seen. They bulked at West Ham's £22 million offer for Carlos Bacca. So a £30 million offer for Romagnoli, I think they'd say no to as well. You ended up paying £40 million for him. He's 21. He's quite inexperienced. Wasn't good enough to go to the Euros with Italy. So £40 million for a 21-year-old. I don't think Conte will pay it. What
seems very clear is that Chelsea want a centre-back.
Yeah.
They're linked with Chiellini as well. So as the last week of the window goes on, it looks like they're going to try and get someone, aren't they?
Yes.
One team that hasn't done too much business in the transfer window is Spurs. They brought in Wanyama and Vincent Janssen, but it looks like they might be trying to get rid of a few to bring in one more player. That player is Sissoko, and the players that might be moving out are Ryan Mason and Tom Carroll. Hull apparently are in for both of them. They obviously need players, Hull, and Spurs players like going to Hull. So it could be. I think that could be an all right move for those kind of players. They're the kind of players that end up going to teams like Hull.
Yeah, I agree. I think they probably will end up at Hull. Not necessarily both of them. I think Tom Carroll will struggle to get a Premier League move, in my opinion. Ryan Mason, of course, didn't end up joining Bournemouth. There was talk about a £15 million move down there. That didn't go through. I don't think Bournemouth wanted to pay the fee. There's also Nabil Bentaleb, who seems like he might be on his way to Schalke. Of course, there was a £10 million bid rejected. Schalke need midfielders. They really struggled to play through central areas last season, Schalke, and I think Bentaleb would help that. He is talented. Let's not forget he had a fantastic season under Sherwood.
He did.
However, way down the pecking order now that Wanyama's joined under Pochettino, so he is ready to go. Tom Carroll and Ryan Mason also probably surplus to requirements. Now Wanyama's arrived. I think if they're going to sell him, they'll probably sell him, but there's no way they're paying £30 million for Moussa Sissoko. It's a terrible move if they do.
Why is it a terrible move if they do? I think he's a good player with great stamina who would fit Spurs' style. And if you're losing a couple of the players, you need to get someone in. So why not get someone who could actually make an impact in the first team?
I think you just summed it up then. He's a great player with good stamina. If that's what we're classing as quality nowadays.
Did very well in the Euros, Joe.
Of course he did, but then plenty of players have done well at the European Championships in the past and then failed the season after. Same with World Cup players. If you ever watch Moneyball, you'll know that not to buy a player after a successful international tournament. It usually results in a failure. It usually means you're overpaying. Let's have a look at his season last year at Newcastle. It was a massive failure. His effort was lacking. He didn't contribute in terms of goals and assists. Okay, he's a physical presence in the midfield, but when Mike Ashley's quoting £35 million for him, that worries me, especially in a summer where Blaise Matuidi now looks like he's going to Juventus for €30 million, so about £23 million. There's no way that Tottenham should be paying £35 million for a player with Moussa Sissoko's attitude.
Well, there you go. That's what Joe thinks. But what do you guys think? Let us know in the comments below. That's good. Do you think he's worth the money? Do you think he's worth signing? You know, if you go right to the last day of transfer deadline day, do you think you can get him on the cheap?
No.
That's the only other thing. Let us know in the comments below. And finally, we've got to talk about Arsenal each and every day because they are linked with a new player each and every day. The holy grail of a defender and a striker carries on. Today, they've been linked with Marcel Tisserand. This guy, he struggled to hold down a place at Monaco.
Yeah.
Is he the answer?
I don't think he is the answer in terms of a first-team player that's going to slot straight in and get alongside Laurent Koscielny and really improve that starting 11, which is what I think Arsenal need. I think if Per Mertesacker and Gabriel were to drop down to third and fourth choices, I think that Arsenal will be in a very good position. But Tisserand isn't going to be that man to come in. 23 years old, of course, operated quite frequently at right-back for Toulouse last season. He's had 3 loan moves in 3 years. He's struggled to displace Ricardo Carvalho, who's now 38, 39 years old at central defence in Monaco. Last season, he was playing B-team football for Toulouse. He's probably made less than 60 first-team appearances in Ligue 1. That would really worry me if I was an Arsenal fan.
So this final one, the latest striker that they've been linked with, Slimani from Sporting Lisbon, is he the answer to that? They're willing to pay 25 million for him. He's a big guy, but Sporting are holding out for 30 million. Is he the answer?
I don't think he's the answer, and I don't actually think there's any real interest from Arsenal in terms of Slimani. Of course, got 31 goals in Premier League of football last year, but so did Mitroglou and Jonas at Benfica. Mitroglou couldn't kick a ball in the Premier League, so let's take that with a pinch of salt. I think it's fair to say he is a 1-in-2 striker. He's probably got 57 in over 100 games for Sporting Lisbon, which isn't too bad. But then, like you said, he's built in a sort of similar mould to Olivier Giroud, a target man, scores a lot of goals with his head. I think he'd struggle with the interplay that Arsenal operate, especially around the edge of the box, that sort of fizzing play around the edge of the box and him linking up. That's one of Giroud's biggest problems. I also think in a market where you're looking at Alexandre Lacazette, to then go to Slimani as 2 completely different profiles of players. Slimani, like I said, a target man. Lacazette, a fizz around the edge of the box and a finisher. Slimani would be a poor move. Another panic buy, in my opinion. This
one, it does feel a bit like, look, 31 goals in 44 games. It does well for the reading of it, but when you really look into it properly, I think this is probably a bit of lazy journalism and not one that's going to
Portuguese media always do it as well, constantly leaking players who've been successful for one season with Premier League moves. We saw it with William Carvalho, we saw it with Nicolas Gaitan for about 5 years, we saw it with Mitroglou. It's just a nightmare, it happens all the time. The Portuguese press love to push bullshit on us. So take everything with a pinch of salt that you read in Ebola. Put it that way.
So that's it for today's Transfer Daily News. But one question for you. You're involved in staying abreast of all of this.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on the transfer window so far, and what do you think is going to happen in the last week?
Personally, I think there's been some fantastic business, and surprisingly, comparatively to previous windows, teams have done it fantastically early. Manchester United and Manchester City have their business wrapped up by the start of August, really. I know Paul Pogba dragged on, but that move was done a while before it was announced. Of course, you've seen all the Adidas campaigns, all the Stormzy stuff. You know that was probably at least 3 weeks prior to the announcement. So their business was done early. Man City have got their business done early. Barcelona have got their business done early. Of course, they're going to sell Claudio Bravo, but they've already bought in Jasper Cillessen. That deal is pretty much done now that Tim Krul's joined Ajax. So I think pretty much the major teams have got their business done very, very early and very, very well. Juventus as well, done really good business. I personally think the last week might be a bit of a letdown. You might see a defender join Chelsea and maybe a backup join Arsenal, but I think Wenger might be a bit stubborn in this window and not sign anyone else.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Well, there you have it. I personally hope it's going to be absolute chaos in the last week, leading and culminating in a beautiful transfer deadline day, which you can see on Bull Street. But you don't want to miss out on that, so go subscribe to Bull Street. Do that right now. Also, check out Football Daily. Joe's on it all the time, every single day.
Not every day, but most days, unfortunately.
So if you want another fix of Joe, head over to Football Daily and go subscribe to their channel. We'll be back tomorrow with some more daily transfer news. Until then, goodbye.